Welcome students, welcome to MJC Learning for Standard 12th, our subject economics. We are going to today discuss with part 4 of our chapter number 5, Forms of Market. So far, we have learned about the meaning and definition of market. Then we have learned about the feature and the understanding about perfect competition. We then begin with the price determination. How is price determined under perfect competition? Later, we have also done with the monopoly as a market competition, and today in our part 4 we are going to discuss in brief about our topic called as oligopoly. Oligopoly is said to be one of the imperfect market competition because it is not perfect. That is why it has been concluded under the imperfect market competition. Let us have a detailed discussion on the meaning of oligopoly and have a quick look at the features as well. So the term oligopoly is derived from the Greek word as our other words monopoly, just as even it has its Greek origin. Similarly, oligopoly is also having a Greek origin where oligo means few and poly means sellers. So when we combine few sellers, we talk about oligopoly indirectly. So it is that market where there are very few firms, as the name itself says, oligo means few. So when we talk about few firms or oligopoly market, it is understood that the firms here are few, not just as in perfect competition. We have learned that perfect competition has large number of sellers, but over here the firm has very few number. The producers are very few in number. So the product the firm is been producing are either homogeneous or they are differentiated product. Now homogeneous, the term homogeneous means identical product. Now they are similar, not exactly the same, but has the similarity in terms of its taste, quality, shape, color and other things including. Whereas a differentiated product makes the consumer demand their product, and that is why they have a different appeal. The product with a differentiated feature has more appeal to the to the seller, and that is why homogeneous product or a differentiated product, there are few firms who are producing either of these products. So here the example given are of mobile service provider and cement companies. So here, rather than giving the example of a cement company, I have taken into consideration of a soft drink product wherein you can see that there are n number of Pepsi products as per the requirement of the consumer, and in order that the consumer are not attracted, even the Coca-Cola company starts producing that very kind of a thing. So ultimately it is about who is willing to sell their product and satisfy the consumer's need. Airtel, AIRCEL, then MTNL, they all are the products service provider for mobile companies, wherein you can say that telecommunication is the product that they give up to the market for the consumer. So data, how much data at which price they are giving to the consumer, they have a different set of plan to attract the consumer, right? So this is the basic understanding that oligopoly gives to us. It is a few seller coming together either with a homogeneous product or differentiated product, and ultimately targeting the consumers to buy their product in order to get the maximum profit. Now let us have a look at the feature of oligopoly. Oligopoly is the very first feature is the few firms or sellers. Now under oligopoly market, there are very few firms, right? As we have already understood by the name itself. Oligo means few. So the very first feature turns out to be few firms or sellers. And because these sellers are very few in number, they dominate their market and they have a good control over the price of the product that they are selling, right? Why? Because there are very limited players, there are very limited producers, and if they have a differentiated product or even a homogeneous product, for them it is under their control that they can control the price of the product and attract maximum amount of the consumers. Now, being very few number of sellers in the market, the second feature turns out to be interdependence. Interdependence, आत्मनिर्भर ना होना, दूसरे के ऊपर डिपेंड करना. इंटर, खुद पर नहीं, इंटर, not independence, it is interdependence, depending on somebody else. So here, since the sellers are few, they have to be very cautious with regards to any action taken by their competitive firm. If there are other firms competing in terms of the brand name, the price, the commodity, the quantity which is being sold, so all these things, the consumer, towards whose product is the consumer inclining, and that is why a seller is supposed to be very cautious. And since there are few sellers in the market, even if one consumer is being attracted, a far more number of consumers are attracted towards a player or the seller of the market, the other person or the other firm will have to follow so that he can remain in the competition. Otherwise, he will be quickly thrown away and the product demanded will be least of that particular seller. That is why the second feature talks about interdependence. A firm has to be dependent on the other firm, so as in terms of price, the offers, the discounts they are giving, and the other things as well. The third important aspect is of advertising. We all are aware the famous brands are being endorsed by our public celebrities, right? Because they are an instrument where people get attracted to what they are trying to say. And hence, advertising becomes a very powerful instrument in the hands of the oligopolist. The person who is being more of appeal in the eyes of the public, the oligopolist will go and definitely consider that person to endorse their product so that they can attract more consumer towards their product and they can capture the larger part of the market. That is why advertising becomes a very powerful instrument. Moving on to the fourth one, the fourth important feature is called as entry barrier. So far, we have understood that in perfect competition, the entry and exit was without any hindrance, without any obstacle. We had learned it under the point called as free entry and exit. In monopoly, there was an entry barrier. Similarly, even under the oligopoly situation, the firms, when they want to come in the market, they have to face certain entry barrier such as licensing problem where the government doesn't easily give the license, the patents, copyrights and other things as well. But when the firm want to exit the market, exit the industry, they can do it as per their choice. That means when coming into the market, coming into the industry, they act the barrier, they create the obstacles. But when if the firm wants to exit the industry, they are free to go. That is why the fourth point talks about entry barrier and not the exit as well. They have not mentioned the term exit as well. The fifth point talks about lack of uniformity. Uniformness means the same pattern. When they lack same pattern, it is called as lack of uniformity. Among the oligopoly firms, of course, there is a lack of uniformity among the firms, and it comes in terms of their size. Some firm may be of a bigger size, some firm is of a smaller size. That means over here it is not necessary that a firm has to be of a bigger size and has to be a bigger player. It does not matter. So that is why it is said that lack of uniformity. We can see that Giro, the product Giro, it has come very recently in the market, but it has captured majority of the consumer because there are certain consumer attracted because of the taste, the difference. As we have learnt about differentiated product, where the market was filled up with Fanta and Mirinda, that kind of a taste, Sprite, the plain one. Giro has given the consumer a different kind of taste to the consumer, and though it has a not much bigger size as compared to Colgate and other things that we can see over here, Amul brand and all those things, it has the capture of the market in their hands. So that is why, in that sense, we can say that oligopoly lacks uniformity. Then moving on to our last part called as uncertainty. Certainty means sure, a surety. You're sure of this. But uncertainty, not sure. The meaning of uncertainty is you are not sure about it. There is no certain prediction, right? So when it comes to oligopoly market, there is a considerable amount of uncertainty in the market because there are different behavior patterns of the firms. That means they are rivals. They can come together, they can fight, they can tie up with each other. Suppose firm A and B come together in order to fight with firm C. So you cannot predict as to what the next behavior or the next step the rival firm will take in order to throw them out of the market, in order to get the maximum consumers attracted towards them. So that is how there is always the element of unpredictability, uncertainty in the market of oligopoly. So students, today we have learned about the basic meaning of oligopoly. Oligo means few and poly means seller. The term is derived from the Greek word, right? And here the market produces either homogeneous product or differentiated product. Then we moved on to the first feature of oligopoly, that was few firms or sellers, their interdependence on each other with respect to the action taken by the competing firm in terms of the price, discounts, quantity, buy one get one free, and all these kind of stuffs. Then third, advertising, wherein advertising plays a very powerful role to attract the consumer towards them. Then it was also learned that there are barriers to entry rather than the exit. The firm can come at any point in time, but they have to cross all the barriers, and after that only they can come in the industry. But whenever they want to go back and they are facing some loss, they can anytime pack up their bags and leave the industry as well. Then we have learnt about the lack of uniformity. It was in terms of the size of the firm. It can be smaller also, and it can be bigger as well. And the last point was of uncertainty, wherein the behavior pattern of the rival firm can never be predicted. And that is how we are going to complete today with our part 4 of this chapter. And in the next part, we are going to learn about the meaning, definition, and features of monopolistic competition. Till then, I want you all to go through all the chapter in the parts that they have been given and make short notes, find out the points, important points, and write them down as well. So, till then, keep learning and stay safe. Thank you.